April 1st, 2024. A young college student in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, eagerly prepares for an evening she had been looking forward to, a date with someone she had recently met. She mentions it to an employee at her apartment building, unaware that this casual remark would be the last known conversation she would have. Hours pass. Then a day. Shadday Carlina Robinson is nowhere to be found. Calls go unanswered. Texts remain unread. By the following morning, an unsettling reality begins to take shape. Later that day, a discovery is made in a park near Milwaukee. A severed human leg. It's impossible to identify at first, but DNA testing soon delivers an answer no one was prepared for. The leg belongs to Shadday. Days pass, and the horrors deepen. More remains are found, scattered across different locations, some washing up along the shoreline of Lake Michigan. Her car, once a symbol of her independence, is reduced to ashes. What began as a missing persons case has now turned into something far worse. The investigation takes a chilling turn when authorities arrest a man, 33-year-old Maxwell S. Anderson, a man Shadday had only recently met. As evidence mounts, a horrifying truth is revealed. This wasn't random. It wasn't impulsive. It was planned. And it wasn't just a murder. It was something far more disturbing. But even with Anderson in custody, questions remain. How did this happen? Who was Maxwell Anderson? And why did he target Shadday? As we unravel the events leading up to that fateful night, we piece together a terrifying story. One of deception, manipulation, and unimaginable brutality. This is the tragic case of Shadday Carlina Robinson. Shadday Carlina Robinson was born on May 10, 2004, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. From an early age, she was known for her vibrant personality, an infectious smile that could light up a room, and a deep love for the people around her. She was the kind of person who made an impression wherever she went. Kind, hardworking, and full of dreams. Growing up in Milwaukee, Shadday was raised by a loving family who encouraged her to chase her goals. She was ambitious, with a determination that was evident to everyone who knew her. Friends described her as someone who always had a plan for the future. She wanted more than just a job. She wanted a career, something that would allow her to build a life she could be proud of. And for Shadday, that meant pursuing higher education. At 19, she was balancing college and work, determined to make something of herself. She attended classes regularly, stayed focused on her studies, and juggled her responsibilities with an admirable level of dedication. She knew that hard work was the key to success, and she wasn't afraid to put in the effort. But Shadday wasn't just about academics and work. She had passions, interests, and a personality that made her stand out. She had a deep love for music and fashion. Those who knew her say she had an eye for style, always putting together outfits that reflected her personality. And there was one color that defined her more than any other: pink. It wasn't just a favorite, it was part of who she was. Whether it was clothing, accessories, or decorations, pink was a constant in her life. It was bright, bold, and full of energy just like her. She also had a strong work ethic. While many college students struggled to balance school and employment, Shadday handled both with determination. She worked at Pizza Shuttle, a well-known restaurant in Milwaukee. Her co-workers admired her dedication, and customers often remembered her friendly demeanor. She took pride in her job, not just as a way to support herself, but as a step toward something bigger. But beyond her ambitions and responsibilities, Shadday was a person who cared deeply about others. Friends recall her as someone who would always listen, always offer support, and always find a way to bring joy to those around her. She had a way of making people feel comfortable, of turning strangers into friends. She had a bright future ahead of her. A future she was actively working toward. A future she deserved. But that future was stolen. On the night of April 1st, 2024, Sade went on a date, something she was excited about. She had mentioned it in passing to an employee at her apartment building, a simple statement that seemed insignificant at the time. No one could have imagined that it would be the last time anyone would hear from her. Within hours, everything changed. And by the next morning, Sade Robinson was missing. April 1st, 2024. It was a Monday evening in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and 19-year-old Sade Robinson had plans. She was excited, looking forward to what she believed would be a fun night out. That evening, she casually mentioned to an employee at her apartment building that she was going on a date. It wasn't just any date, it was with someone new, a man she had recently met. His name was Maxwell S. Anderson, a 33-year-old man whose life experience and age placed him in a completely different stage of life than Sade. But Sade didn't seem to have any concerns. There were no red flags she had voiced to her friends or family, nothing to suggest that this night would end in anything but a normal evening. She left. She didn't tell many people where she was going or what the plan was. She was just a young woman meeting someone new, expecting nothing out of the ordinary. Hours passed. And then something happened. Sade never returned home. The next morning, April 2nd, 2024, the worry began to spread. Sade wasn't the type to disappear without explanation. She was responsible, reliable, and always stayed in touch with the people in her life. When texts and calls went unanswered, concern quickly turned into panic. Her friends and family tried to reach her, hoping for a simple answer. Maybe she had overslept. Maybe she had forgotten to charge her phone. But as the hours dragged on, it became clear something was wrong. Sade was officially reported missing on April 2nd. Immediately, her loved ones began searching. They checked places she was known to visit, contacted her workplace, and reached out to anyone who might have seen or heard from her. But there was nothing, no trace of Sade, no sign of where she had gone after her date, and no answers. The police were notified, but in the early hours of a disappearance, cases like this are often met with hesitation. Many times, authorities believe the missing person will return on their own. Maybe she had gone somewhere unexpected. Maybe she just needed time. But those who knew Sade knew better. She wouldn't just disappear. As the search for Sade intensified, another discovery was made elsewhere in the city. A discovery so horrifying that it would turn this case from a missing persons investigation into something far more disturbing. That same day, April 2nd, 2024, a severed human leg was found in a Milwaukee park. At first, there were no immediate answers. No one knew who it belonged to, where it had come from, or how it had ended up there. But when investigators ran DNA tests, the results were devastating. The leg belonged to Sade Robinson. Within 24 hours, what had started as a simple date had turned into a nightmare. The young woman, her family, and friends were desperately searching, for it met a fate no one could have imagined. And the person responsible? He was still out there. The search for Sade Robinson had only just begun when a gruesome discovery stopped everything. The reality was now undeniable. Sade wasn't just missing. She had been killed. And not just killed, but dismembered. April 3rd, 2024. The investigation intensified. Authorities scoured Milwaukee, searching for any trace of her remaining body. It didn't take long before more human remains started turning up, scattered across different locations. Some were found in isolated areas, others washed up along the shores of Lake Michigan. It was clear whoever had done this hadn't just wanted to end Sade's life. They wanted to make sure she was never found whole. Meanwhile, detectives were piecing together Sade's last known whereabouts. The focus shifted to the man she had been with on the night of her disappearance, Maxwell S. Anderson. April 4th, 2024. Before investigators could even knock on his door, another disturbing discovery was made. Sade's car was found, but it had been set on fire. The vehicle that had once carried her to her final destination was now a charred wreck, intentionally burned to destroy any evidence inside. But even fire couldn't erase the truth. At this point, there was no more doubt. Someone had planned this. Someone had gone to great lengths to ensure Shaddy's remains were scattered, her car destroyed, and her last hours erased from existence. That someone was Maxwell Anderson. And on April 4, 2024, police arrested him. But as investigators would soon discover, Anderson had been planning this long before Shadday ever stepped foot inside his home. Maxwell S. Anderson, a 33-year-old resident of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, had a history that, in hindsight, revealed troubling patterns. His criminal record included convictions for domestic abuse, disorderly conduct, and drunk driving, painting a picture of a man with a propensity for violence and disregard for the law. In early 2024, Anderson crossed paths with 19-year-old Shadday Robinson. The specifics of their meeting remain unclear, but it led to a date on April 1, 2024, a date that Shadday anticipated with excitement. Unbeknownst to her, Anderson harbored sinister intentions. Evidence later revealed that Anderson had meticulously planned Shaddy's murder at least a month in advance. A confidential informant came forward, disclosing chilling details. On March 5, 2024, Anderson had shown this informant his basement, which was lined with plastic tarps and equipped with saws. He outlined his plan: to threaten Shadday with a gun, kill her, dismember her body in the basement, and scatter her remains throughout Milwaukee. Following Shaddy's disappearance, investigators honed in on Anderson as a prime suspect. A search of his home unveiled damning evidence. Blood spatter was found on the walls, and the basement matched the informant's description, a space eerily prepared for a gruesome act. These findings, combined with the informant's testimony, led to Anderson's arrest on April 4, 2024. The community was left in shock as the details emerged. A young woman's life, full of promise, had been brutally taken by a man whose dark proclivities had gone unchecked. The question on everyone's mind was, how could such evil lurk beneath the surface, unnoticed until it was too late? Following the arrest of Maxwell S. Anderson, the legal system began its meticulous process to address the heinous crimes he was accused of committing. Anderson faced multiple charges. First-degree intentional homicide. This charge alleges that Anderson deliberately and premeditatedly caused the death of Shadday Robinson. Mutilating a corpse. He was accused of dismembering Shaddy's body, a gruesome act that shocked the community. Arson. Anderson allegedly set fire to Shaddy's car in an attempt to destroy evidence and hinder the investigation. In his initial court appearance, Anderson entered a plea of not guilty to all charges. His defense team promptly requested delays in the trial proceedings, citing the need for additional time to thoroughly examine the forensic evidence presented by the prosecution. They emphasized the importance of ensuring a fair trial, which necessitated a comprehensive review of all material evidence. Originally, the trial was scheduled to commence on December 9, 2024. However, during a pretrial hearing on December 2, 2024, the court granted the defense's motion for a postponement. The trial was subsequently rescheduled to begin on May 27, 2025. This decision was met with mixed reactions, particularly from Shaddy's family, who expressed frustration over the delay in seeking justice for their loved one. As the legal proceedings continue, the community remains vigilant, awaiting the trial's outcome. The case has not only highlighted the brutal nature of the crime, but also underscored the complexities inherent in the judicial process. We invite you, our viewers, to share your perspectives on these legal developments. Do you believe the trial postponement was justified? How do you feel about the defense's strategy and the charges brought against Anderson? Please share your thoughts and engage in discussion in the comment section. In the aftermath of Shadday Robinson's tragic death, the Milwaukee community rallied to honor her memory and support her grieving family. One of the most heartfelt tributes emerged at Pizza Shuttle, the restaurant where Shadday had worked. In September 2024, a vibrant mural was painted near its entrance, capturing Shaddy's radiant smile and serving as a lasting reminder of her presence. The community's compassion extended further, with a Pink Out event held on the front lawn of Maxwell Anderson's residence. Dozens gathered, transforming the space into a makeshift memorial adorned with pink balloons, posters, flowers, and stuffed animals, a poignant choice, as pink was Shaddy's favorite color. However, efforts to establish a county-sponsored memorial faced unexpected challenges. Shaddy's mother had requested funding for a memorial bench in Warnemont Park, where parts of Shaddy's remains were discovered. The proposal, amounting to $7,000, was initially met with support. But soon after, county officials received a flurry of racist emails opposing the use of taxpayer money for the memorial. The backlash was so intense that the family, not wanting Shaddy's name associated with controversy, asked for the proposal to be withdrawn. In response to this adversity, local businesses and individuals stepped up to ensure Shaddy's legacy would be honored appropriately. Milwaukee businessman Omar Sheikh organized a fundraiser aiming to gather the necessary funds for the memorial bench. He encouraged guests to contribute, reflecting the community's resilience and commitment to supporting Shaddy's family during this difficult time. These collective efforts underscore the community's dedication to remembering Shadday Robinson, ensuring that her life and legacy continue to inspire unity and compassion. The case of Shadday Robinson is more than just a tragic crime. It is a reflection of deeper societal issues that continue to persist. One of the most chilling aspects of this case is the level of premeditation involved. Investigators uncovered evidence that Maxwell Anderson had allegedly been planning this for at least a month. The disturbing details of his basement setup, the weapons he gathered, and the conversation with an informant all point to a calculated act of violence. This raises serious concerns about how individuals with violent tendencies can go unnoticed until it's too late. Another crucial issue is the role of systemic racism, particularly in the response to Shaddy's memorial. When her family requested county-sponsored funding for a memorial, they faced immediate pushback in the form of racist emails. The opposition was so severe that they withdrew their request entirely. This reaction highlights the ongoing disparities in how different communities are treated when seeking public support. It forces us to ask, would the response have been different if the victim were from a different racial background? Beyond the tragedy and controversy, this case has also demonstrated the power of community support. From the mural at Pizza Shuttle to the Pink Out event and the fundraising efforts for a memorial, people have come together to honor Shaddy's memory. These acts of solidarity show how communities can play a vital role in supporting victims' families and ensuring that their loved ones are not forgotten. Now, we turn the conversation to you. What are your thoughts on the societal issues raised by this case? How do you think communities can better support victims' families? Do you believe enough is being done to address cases of premeditated violence? Share your thoughts in the comment section. The tragic case of Shadday Robinson has left a lasting impact on her family, friends, and the Milwaukee community. Throughout this video, we have explored the details of her disappearance, the horrific discovery of her remains, and the chilling premeditation behind Maxwell Anderson's alleged crimes. We have also discussed the ongoing legal proceedings, the community's efforts to honor Shaddy's memory, and the broader societal issues this case has brought to light. Shadday was more than just a victim. She was a young woman with dreams, loved ones, and a future ahead of her. Her loss is immeasurable, and our thoughts remain with her family and friends as they continue to seek justice. The outpouring of support from the community has been powerful, showing that even in the face of tragedy, people can come together to remember and honor those taken too soon. As we await the trial set for May 27, 2025, the question remains, will justice be served? The outcome of this case will not only determine the fate of Maxwell Anderson, but may also set a precedent for how crimes like this are prosecuted in the future. The conversation does not end here. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you believe justice will be served? What more can be done to support victims' families and address the broader issues of violence and racial discrimination? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue this important discussion. If you found this video informative and want to stay updated on cases like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring attention to these stories and ensures that victims, like Shadday Robinson, are never forgotten. Stay tuned for updates as the trial unfolds, and remember to always stay informed and engaged in the pursuit of justice.